In old Babylon there once lived a certain very rich man named Arcad. Far and wide he was famed for his great wealth, also was he famed for his liberality. He was generous in his charities. He was generous with his family. He was liberal in his own expenses. But nevertheless each year his wealth increased more rapidly than he spent it. Arcad found employment as a scribe in the Hall of Records. In long hours each day, he labored upon the clay tablets. Week after week, and month after month, he labored. Yet for the earning he had naught to show, food and clothing and penance to the gods, and other things of which he could not remember what, absorbed all his earnings. But his determination did not leave him. And one day Algamish, the money lender, came to the house of the city master and ordered a copy of the 9th law, and Algamish said to him, I must have this in 2 days, and if the task is done by that time, 2 coppers will I give to thee. So Arcad labored hard, but the law was long, and when Algamish returned, the task was unfinished. He was angry, and had Arcad been his slave, he would have beaten Arcad. But knowing the city master would not permit him to injure Arcad, Arcad was unafraid. So Arcad said to him, Algamish, you are a very wealthy man. Tell me how I may also become wealthy, and all night I will carve upon the clay, and when the sun rises it shall be completed. Algamish smiled at Arcad, and replied, You are a forward knave, but we will call it a bargain. All that night Arcad carved, though his back pained, and the smell of the wick made his head ache, until his eyes could hardly see. But when he returned at sunup, the tablets were complete. Arcad said to Algamish, Now, tell me what you promised. Algamish said, You have fulfilled your part of our bargain, my son, and I am ready to fulfill mine. Mark well my words, for if you do not, you will fail to grasp the truth that I will tell you, and you will think that your night's work has been in vain. Then Algamish looked at Arcad shrewdly, from under his shaggy brows, and said in a low and forceful tone, I found the road to wealth when I decided that a part of all I earned was mine to keep, and so will you. Then Algamish continued to look at Arcad, but said no more. Arcad asked, Is that all? Algamish replied, That was sufficient to change the heart of a sheep-herder into the heart of a money lender. Arcad demanded, But all I earn is mine to keep, is it not? Algamish replied, Far from it. Do you not pay the garment maker? Do you not pay the sandal maker? Do you not pay for the things you eat? Can you live here without spending? What have you to show for your earnings of the past month? What for the past year? Fool, you pay to everyone but yourself. Dullard, you labor for others. As well be a slave and work for what your master gives you to eat and wear. If you did keep for yourself 1/10 of all you earn, how much would you have in 10 years? Arcad replied, As much as I earn in 1 year. Algamish said, You speak but half the truth. Every gold piece you save is a slave to work for you. Every copper it earns its child that also can earn for you. If you would become wealthy, then what you save must earn, and its children must earn, and its children must earn, that all may help to give you the abundance you crave. You earn is yours to keep. It should be not less than 1/10. No matter how little you earn, it can be as much more as you can afford. Pay yourself first. Do not buy from clothes maker and the sandal maker more than you can pay out of the rest, and still have enough for food, and charity and penance to God. Wealth, like a tree, grows from a tiny seed. The first copper you save is the seed from which your tree of wealth shall grow. The sooner you plant that seed, the sooner shall the tree grow, and the more faithfully you nourish and water that tree with consistent saving, the sooner may you bask in contentment beneath its shade. 1 year later, Algamish met again with Arcad and asked, Son, have you paid to yourself not less than 1/10 of all you have earned for the past year? Arcad replied, Yes, master, I have. Algamish asked, And what have you done with it? Arcad replied, I have given it to Asmur, the brickmaker, who told me that he was traveling over the far seas and In Tyre, he would buy for me the rare jewels of the Phoenicians. When he returns we shall sell these at high prices, and divide the earnings." Algamish said, "Every fool must learn. Why trust the knowledge of a brickmaker about jewels? Would you go to brickmake to inquire about the star? No, you would go to the astrologer if you had power to think. Try again, and next time. If you would have advice about jewels, go to the jewel merchant. If you would know the truth about sheep, go to the herdsman. Advice is one thing that is freely given away, but watch that you take only what is worth having. He who takes advice about his savings from one who is inexperienced in such matters shall pay with his savings for proving the falsity of their opinions." And it was as Algamish said, for the Phoenicians are scoundrels, and sold to Asmar worthless bits of glass that looked like gems. 1 year later, Algamish met again with Arkad and asked, "What the progress have you made since last I saw you?" Arkad replied, "I have paid myself faithfully, and my savings I have entrusted to Ager, the shield maker, to buy bronze, and each 4th month he does pay me the rental." Algamish said, "That is good. And what do you do with the rental?" Arkad replied, "I do have a great feast with honey, and fine wine and spiced cake. Also I have bought me a scarlet tunic." Algamish said, "You do eat the children of your savings. Then how do you expect them to work for you? And how can they have children that will also work for you? First, get thee an army of golden slaves, and then many a rich banquet may you enjoy without regret." 2 years later, Algamish's face was full of deep lines, and his eyes drooped. He was becoming a very old man. Algamish asked, "Arkad, has you achieved the wealth you dreamed of?" Arkad replied, "Not yet all, but some I have, and it earns more, and its earnings earn more." Algamish said, "Arkad, you have learned your lessons well. You first learned to live upon less than you could earn. Next, you learned to seek advice from those who were competent, through their own experiences to give it. And, lastly, you have learned to make gold work for you. You have taught yourself how to acquire money, how to keep it, and how to use it. Therefore, you are competent for a responsible position. I am becoming an old man. My sons think only of spending and give no thought to earning. My interests are great and I fear too much for me to look after. If you will, go to Nippur and look after my lands there. I shall make you my partner and you shall share in my estate." The end. Would you call a fisherman lucky, who for years so studied the habits of the fish? A man's wealth is not in the coins he carries in his purse. It is the income he builds, the golden stream that continually flow into his purse and keeps it always bulging. The income that continue to come whether thou work or travel. It is wise that we must first secure small amounts and learn to protect them before the God entrust us with larger.